अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। रक्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। प्रभुजन माता जी सभी भक्तों को सादर प्रणाम। वेलकम टू दिस इवनिंग स्पेशल सेशन अमृत स्नान in Srimad Bhagavatam. You may recall that last week we had a wonderful session wherein we collectively took a dip in the first 12 verses, which are given by Kunti Maharani. As we know that Kunti Mata, she is a great and unlawed devotee of Krishna. And the verses what she recited, Prabhupada has called those verses as the teachings of Queen Kunti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, several devotees have recited the prayers unto Lord Shri Krishna. But this is the only prayer which has been entitled by Srila Prabhupada as Teachings of Queen Kunti. And this is the first set of prayers in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam of all the 12 cantos. So, what I mean to say that these prayers are very, very important, very, very instructive for our lives, particularly for the Grihasthas, because Kunti Devi, she was a Grihastha. She had children, daughter-in-laws, grandchildren, and all, right? And she has seen the various stages of life throughout her lifetime. She has spoken that has come out from her heart. And Prabhupada says that women are simple and innocent by nature. So whenever uh, pure devotee and woman like Kunti Mata speaks, that comes from the heart without any duplicity. So in those 12 verses, uh, Kunti Mata, she offers her obeisances to Lord Krishna a number of times, very diplomatically, so that Krishna doesn't feel embarrassed because Krishna is the nephew of Kunti Mata, but still she recognizes the position of Krishna and she offers her repeated obeisances to Krishna. And after that, she expresses her gratitude to Krishna by remembering what Krishna did for Kunti Mata and her children. And Kunti Mata also says that Krishna has been more merciful on Kunti Mata and Pandavas as compared to Devki, because in case of Devki, Krishna released her after a long time, right? And Krishna was not with Devki Mata. As soon as Devki Mata gave birth to Krishna, Krishna left her. But in case of Pandavas, Krishna stayed with them uh, whenever they needed Krishna. Not needed, Krishna was with Pandavas all the times. And then she prays to Krishna that I wish that all those calamities, it's not a simple misery. Kunti says all those calamities means not ordinary miseries. She prays that all those calamities come again and again upon her, because with that she would be able to see the lotus feet of Krishna, and seeing the lotus feet of Krishna means there is no repeated birth and death. And after that, Kunti Mata says that Krishna is the property of Namo Akinchan Vittaya. Krishna is the property of someone. Akinchan means who doesn't have anything. Akinchan Vittaya, who is bereft of anything except Krishna's shelter. And the person who does not have pride of Janm Aishwarya Shruta Shrivi, Ed Manam Bhada Puman. The person who does not have the pride of being born in a high family, person who does not have the pride of highly educated, person who doesn't have pride of having money and the intelligence also. Krishna is the property of such kind of people. So this is the very high level summary of the 12 verses spoken by Kunti Maharani. Prabhupada has given beautiful purports of those 12 verses. And last week, the group of 12 devotees shared their learnings, takeaways from those 12 verses. So today we are going to take up remaining 14 verses, wherein each devotee who has been allocated the verse, particular verse, or rather, the devotees have volunteered to take up the verse. So each devotee will first recite the verse in Sanskrit, followed by recitation of the translation, either in English or Hindi. And after that, the devotee will speak two or three things, what they picked up from the translation or purport, or any teachings or takeaway. So put together, each devotee has got maximum 2 minutes, and after every 4 verse, I'll give a pause where other devotees who are present in the session, they can reflect upon those verses, but again very briefly, and that session will be just maximum 1.5 minutes. So with this background, we will start, and I will recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and after that, the devotees are in the queue, and they will start reciting the verses as I mentioned now. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudírayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Text 30. Janma karma cha vishvatman ajasya kartur atmanah tiryan nirshishu yadahasu tad atyanta vidambanam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Of course it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. So Kunti Maharani here says that your appearance as a human being is sufficiently bewildering to people, and on top of that, you appear in the form of various animals and aquatics too. Therefore, it becomes all the more impossible to understand you. And here, when it is said that you perform no actions, that means his actions are not impelled by material desires or material goals. Because Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. And still he takes birth and performs activities in the form of Varadev, Krishna, Narayan, Matsya Avatar, etc. And one point Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport is that everything is performed by Lord Krishna's various energies, like his Sarva Sankalpa Shakti, and which is inconceivable to the human mind, limited intelligence of the human mind. And the last point which Srila Prabhupada makes, which is a very important point, is that Sri Krishna cannot be understood by the Vedic knowledge, but he can be easily understood by the pure devotees.
Yes.
Therefore, they are because they are intimately related to him. So one point, what I understand here is that the devotees also can understand Krishna to the extent he mercifully reveals himself to them.
Hmm.
Therefore, in any case, Krishna's mercy prevails. So it
Yeah.
is only by Krishna's mercy that we devotees get to know him to an extent Krishna wants to reveal himself. That is
Yeah.
all from my
Thank you,
side.
Mata.
Hare
You made a
Krishna.
nice point that Krishna can be understood by pure devotees only to that extent Krishna wishes to reveal himself to them. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful point.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranams. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopya dade tvai krita gasidam tavad yate dashashru kalilanjana sambhramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya sthitasya samam vimohayati bhir api yadbhibheti. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. There are two things. One is Kunti Maharani, till now, she has praised Lord about Lord's greatness, about his transcendental qualities. But here she says she is bewildered. Why? Because she is now looking at Krishna from Yashoda's point of view, and there none of Krishna's transcendental opulence is available. So she's bewildered that how, as a kid, Krishna, was appealing to Yashoda Maya, and Yashoda Maya has served him spontaneously, without any condition, with true love, without caring about his opulent positions, because she's not aware. She was oblivious. वो बेखबर थी of all the opulences that Krishna has. And that's the true love which Krishna is expecting from each one of us. Krishna, anyone can admire and adore someone who has a very high position. So we all will go to Krishna because Krishna has, he is the supreme. But here, Krishna wants us to understand that true love doesn't come from for what he, for what qualities he has, but for what he is. That is what Yashoda Maya is teaching us actually. One of the beautiful lines in the purport is that Lord accepts the chastisements of his parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns, and that he also accepts the reproaches of his fiancés more palatably than the Vedic hymns. So when we sing Vedic hymns, it's pleasure to him. But what's more pleasing to Krishna is that loving him spontaneously without any reservations. If there is a Supreme Court judge, when he's a high Supreme Court judge, he comes back to home, his grandchildren runs to him, उसके साथ घोड़ा घोड़ा खेलते हैं. So that's the kind of love Krishna is expecting, because that grandchild is loving the grandfather. Doesn't know about that he is a Supreme Court judge. Yet that child is loving him. The child is loving him unconditionally. I would just want to end it by saying Yashoda, Y stands for yearning, Utkantata, Lalasa, which she had for Krishna, serving Krishna. A is affectionate towards Krishna unconditionally. S stands for that she was sincere and serious in serving Krishna. O for oblivious to Krishna's supreme position. D, she is devoted to Krishna fully without any reservations and not to other things. And A is alert. She is attentive and alert to all Krishna's needs. Hare Krishna,
Mm.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji. Text 32. केचित् आहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदोह प्रियसस्वान्वायै मलयस्यैव चन्दनम्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Some says that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others says that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. From my side, Prabhuji. In this sloka, Kunti Maharani is giving many reasons Krishna appears in this world, material world, so many reasons. Kunti Maharani says, Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya slokasya kirtaye. Ajam jatam means although Krishna is unborn, he has appeared, he took birth in this world for several reasons. First reason, Punya Slokasya Kirtaye, to glorify great devotees, to increase the influence of great devotees. Another name of Krishna is Prabhava Sarvaswatam. He like to expand glories and influence his devotees. He like to see his devotees more glories than himself. He likes to glorify his devotees than he takes glories for himself. So Punya Slokasya Kirtaye mean Krishna want to see his devotees glorify. Krishna want to see his devotee glorify. Second reason, Yadoha Priyasyanvaye means Yadu Maharaja is also very great devotee of Krishna. And Yadu desire, but Krishna appears his own dynastic because of affection of Yadu Maharaja, Krishna appeared in Yadu dynasty. Second reason for Krishna appearance to describe the Malayasheva Chandanam, just like a Chandana or sandalwood trees grow in Malaya Hills. Malaya Hills. So Lord Krishna appeared in Yadu dynastic. They give here beautiful comparison given here. Expand the influence great devotees to please Yadu Maharaj. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, text number 33. अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवकं यचितोऽभ्यगत् अजस्त्वमस्य क्षेमाय वधाय च सुरदृशम्. Translation by His Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Others says that since both Vasudev and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of demigods. Here, what I understand from the lecture of the Srila Prabhupada, that Vasudev and Devaki ji did prayers to God in their past life as a Sutpa and Prushni. As a Sutpa and Prushni, they performed a hard penance for 12,000 celestial years. And when they asked for any benediction at that time, they asked Krishna that we want a son exactly like you. So to satisfy their, I understand like that, they satisfied, Krishna took birth to satisfy their devotee and for the pleasure of the devotee. The another reason they stated that to kill those who are envious to demigod. But Srila Prabhupada said to kill all these demons, natural activity, anything can happen like earthquake, cyclone, snowstorms. Still, Krishna took birth to protect the devotees and for the growth of the devotees. So this is the what I understand from this. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, all the devotees, who took a deep in the first four verses of this session. Now, I request the devotees who are present in this session, if any one of them would like to reflect any one or 2 points from these four verses very briefly, just in 1 minute. We can have a couple of devotees. No, so see, from my side, there is one point on from the verse 1.8.32. It's the last sentence, couple of last sentences in the purport, where Prabhupada says, therefore, the conclusion is that the Lord is ever unborn like the sun, and yet he appears as the sun rises on the eastern horizon. As the sun is never the son of the eastern horizon, so the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. So Prabhupada is comparing Lord's appearance as the appearance of the sun. And Prabhupada mentioned beautifully that the sun rises in the eastern horizon, but we don't say the sun belongs to the eastern horizon. Rather, sun belongs to everyone. So Prabhupada is explaining further that similarly the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. That is Krishna's Leela. So, Prabhu, we move to the next four verses, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. भारावतारणायन्ये भुवो नावैवो दधौ सीदन्त्या भूरि भारेण जातो ह्यात्मभुवार्तितः. Translation and purport by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupāda ki jai.
Yes.
Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. So, from the so we know, right? Kunti Maharani is praying, saying through different prayers why Lord appeared on this planet Earth, and one of the prayer here is Lord Brahmaji, who is son of Vishnu or Krishna. He prayed to him and he appeared. So in the purport, right, Prabhupada has mentioned like some very important points. The word mention of Atma Bhu. Brahmaji is called Atma Bhu because he is born directly from abdomen of Lord Vishnu, meaning without contact of Mother Lakshmi. So that Prabhupada also mentioned that unless there is a spiritual contact, a matter cannot create anything out of itself. So Prabhupada, there is one more book written by Prabhupada, life comes from life. So that means dead matter cannot produce anything out of itself on its own. So unlike in material world, right, where a child is born by the union of male and female bodies, be it human society or in animal kingdom. So this shows that the Lord can do anything and everything out of his unlimited potencies. So Brahmaji is born, and this shows the what is the relationship between Brahmaji and the Lord Krishna or Vishnu. So he is the first born living entity. So Brahma is the son of Vishnu. Yeah, so we know that whenever there's a trouble on the planet Earth, all the demigods they approach Brahmaji, and who in turn approach Lord Vishnu. And in this case, right, the planet Earth was overburdened by ruled by Kamsa and other asuras, and it was troubled by Kamsa and other asuras. So Brahmaji goes and prays to Vishnu, and then he says he'll appear as son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So that is one of the prayer saying, since Brahma is a son of Krishna, so Father says, Krishna says that he will appear to reduce the burden of the earth.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for covering a number of points. Next devotee, please.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम सभी को। भवे अस्मिन् किल शयानाम अविद्या काम कर्म भी श्रवण स्मरण आरहणि कर्ष्यन् इति केचन. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So here from last four sloka, including this sloka, Kunti Maharani is telling the reason of Lord Krishna is why is appearing. So the different condition, but for the same reason, Krishna is appearing to protect and liberate the suffering soul in this material world. And because the Lord Krishna is Karuna Sagar, is the ocean of the mercy. So here fourth thing is that hearing, remembering, and worshipping is from the Navda Bhakti. And another word is rejuvenating word for the you can take an example of Miss Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is appeared in the Kali Yuga to protect and liberate the Badhji in this Kali Yuga. And also Prabhupada ji is telling in this purport that no one can manufacture a new path of religion except Lord Krishna. And same thing for this thing is given in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Two slokas are there. I want to recite. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatman sujamaya. And second one is paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sanstapnataya sambhavami yuge yuge. So from these two chapters, we can understand that why God, Lord Krishna is appeared in this material world. One is to destroy the demons and protect the his devotees, and given a new path of religion. And same thing is given in the second sloka also, that evam parampara pratim raj rishyo vidu sakalena mahata yoga nashta parantam. So here also when Arjuna is asking about this thing, then Lord Krishna is telling this first, I have already given this knowledge to the Vivaswan, Suryadev, and again I am telling you, because in this way he is again and again reestablish the dharma. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Text number 36. Shruvanti gayanti grunyanti Pikshanasha smaranti nandanti tavahitam janaha taeva pashyanti achirena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Translation by Srila Prabhupāda. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. इस श्लोक में प्रभु जी श्री प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं कि हमें कैसे भगवान का निरंतर श्रवण और कीर्तन करना चाहिए। उनकी जो नवधा भक्ति है उसके बारे में यहाँ पे प्रभु जी श्री प्रभुपाद ने बताया है कि हमें भगवान की जो दिव्य लीलाएं हैं उनका हमेशा श्रवण करता रहना चाहिए, उनके गुणगान का कीर्तन करते रहना चाहिए तथा नाम आदि का जप स्मरण करता रहना चाहिए। यहाँ पे प्रभु श्री प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं कि नवधा भक्ति का जो सबसे पहला स्टेप है श्रवणम, हमें उससे स्टार्ट करना चाहिए। इसलिए उसके लिए हमें जो सक्षम और प्रामाणिक वक्ता है उनसे शुद्ध और जो कृष्ण भक्त है उनसे भगवान की लीला आदि का श्रवण करना चाहिए। जब हम श्रवण अच्छे से कर पाएंगे तभी हम नवधा भक्ति के आगे के चरण भी अच्छे से कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि स्मरण, कीर्तन, पाद सेवनम, दास्यम, अर्चनम आदि। मनुष्य को श्री भगवान के विषय में श्री प्रभुपाद द्वारा लिखित भगवत गीता, श्री भागवतम आदि जैसे शास्त्रों से श्रवण करना चाहिए। यह सारे शास्त्र, वेद, पुराण हम भगवान के साथ जो हम अपना जो संबंध हम भूल चुके हैं उसको री एस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हैं, और इससे हम जीवन मृत्यु के चक्कर से मुक्ति पा सकते हैं। जैसे हम बीमारी को मिटाने के लिए दवाई लेते हैं, और जो दवाई हमारे शरीर को अंदर से ठीक करती है, क्योर करती है, उसी तरह श्रवण कीर्तन आदि से हमारा मन शुद्ध होता है, और उससे हम भक्ति की ओर और तेजी से आगे बढ़ सकते हैं।
यस,
प्रभुपाद उनके लेक्चर में कहते हैं कि यत मत तत्पथ, यू कैन मैन्युफैक्चर योर ओन वे। आप जैसा सुनोगे, जैसा कीर्तन करोगे, उसी तरह से आप अपना पथ एस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हो। हरे कृष्णा।
यस, थैंक यू सो मच माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु। टेक्स्ट 37। अप्यधनस्वं स्वकृतः हि प्रभौ जिहाससि स्वित्स्वदा दोहोनुजीवनः येषां न चान्या भगवतः पदाम्ना भुजात्या परायणं राजसु योजितां सामः। Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us. Now when all kings are at enmity with us. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So,
यस,
मेरा जो इसमें थोड़ा मानना है, जो लर्निंग्स है प्रभु, बेसिकली मैं इसको थोड़ा सा हिंदी में बोलना चाहूंगा। कुंती महारानी ने
बोलिए
जैसा
प्रभु।
बोला, हे मेरे प्रभु, आपने तो स्वयं ही सभी कर्तव्यों को पूर्ण किया है। आई थिंक शी वांट टू से समथिंग लाइक दैट। क्या आज आप आज हमें छोड़कर जा रहे हैं, जबकि हम पूरी तरह आपकी कृपा पर निर्भर हैं और हमारे पास आपकी शरण के अलावा कोई रक्षक भी नहीं है, और उस समय सभी राजा हमारे शत्रु बन गए हैं। सो दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वे लाइक शी वांट टू स्पीक। एंड इसका जो मैं आगे हमारा लर्निंग है पांडवों के लेके, तो पांडव तो काफी सौभाग्यशाली थे प्रभु, क्योंकि वे पूरी तरह भगवान की कृपा पर निर्भर थे। और इस भौतिक दुनिया में अगर हम देखें तो किसी और पर निर्भर होना शायद बस किस्मती मानी जाती है, लेकिन भगवान के साथ हमारे आध्यात्मिक संबंध जो है, ये सबसे बड़ा सौभाग्य है कि हम पूरी तरह उन पर निर्भर हो सकें। और भौतिक जीवन की बीमारी यही है कि हम सब कुछ से स्वतंत्र बनने की सोचते हैं, लेकिन हो नहीं पाते प्रभु। और इस प्रकृति के सख्त नियमों से आज़ाद होने की जो झूठी कोशिश हम लोग कर रहे हैं, शायद उसी को हम उन्नति बोलते हैं। दैट इज व्हाट आई थिंक साइंस इज। आई डोंट नो, आई कांट एक्सप्लेन इट, बट यस, आई थिंक दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग। एंड जैसे एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल है, पूरी दुनिया आजकल झूठे प्रयासों में लगी हुई है। जैसे रावण के बारे में सोचे तो उन्होंने स्वर्ग की सीढ़ी बनाने की सोची, और आजकल लोग वही कर रहे हैं। दे आर मेकिंग मशीन्स टू गो टू दोज काइंड ऑफ प्लैनेट्स एंड ऑल, बट दे आर नॉट रीचिंग टू द प्रॉपर गॉड हेड, वो मार्गदर्शन जहाँ जाना चाहिए, जहाँ पे भरोसा होना चाहिए इंसान को। सो वहाँ मेहनत नहीं करते। हालांकि मेहनत करें तो शायद भगवान पर अच्छी तरह निर्भर है। तो इसमें यही समझ में आता है कि भगवान पर निर्भर रहना जो आजकल चल रहा है, आजकल का समाज के हिसाब से बहुत अच्छा, आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पर्पट विच इज हैपनिंग नाउ डेज इन माई ओपिनियन। और पांडव इसका बहुत सर्वश्रेष्ठ उदाहरण है आज की तारीख में। लाइक क्योंकि वे पूरी तरह कृष्ण की कृपा पर ही निर्भर थे। लेकिन वे कोई आलसी मतलब दे वर नॉट लेजी पीपल। वे सभी अपने स्वभाव और कर्मों के बहुत योग्य थे, फिर भी वे हमेशा भगवान की कृपा और प्रार्थना करते रहते थे। इनफैक्ट सब कुछ होने के बाद साथ में थे, फिर भी सारा टाइम उन्हीं पर निर्भर रहना, एंड नथिंग एल्स दे वर इन अ थॉट प्रोसेस। सो हमें भी प्रयास करना चाहिए कि हमें बेसिकली कहते हैं कि अगर भगवान को नहीं आप मान रहे हैं तो यू आर लाइक अनाथ, ऑर्फन। बट अगर भगवान को मानते हैं तो यू आर लाइक सनाथ। सो क्योंकि जीवन तो दुखदाई है ही प्रभु। और सेम अगर अगर हम देखें तो भगवत गीता में अध्याय 7 का जो श्लोक 19 है, वो भी यही बोलता है कि बहुत सारे जन्मों के बाद कोई भाग्यशाली व्यक्ति समझता है वसुदेव ही सब कुछ है, और सबसे अच्छा तरीका है कि हम पूरी तरह भगवान को समर्पित हो जाएं। यही एक महात्मा की पहचान है। और शायद अगर हम कहें तो प्रभु महाराज युधिष्ठिर एंड ऑल पांडव, दे वर ऑल महात्मास, एंड माता कुंती तो उनकी मदर थी, एंड शी वाज वेरी genius lady with all kind of thought process and thinking. एंड और एक और जो मैं इसमें समझता हूँ प्रभु, इसमें भगवान की प्रति जो अटैचमेंट और डिटैचमेंट वाली बात आती है, इट्स लाइक अगर मछली को पानी से निकाल दें तो जो तड़पती है, दैट काइंड ऑफ फीलिंग आई थिंक कुंती महारानी हैव इफ कृष्णा इज नॉट विद हिम। एंड अब वो बोल रहे हैं कि फिर भी हम लोगों ने बहुत संघर्ष किया है, और हम सभी हमेशा किसी ना किसी संघर्ष में फंसे रहते हैं, इसलिए सबसे अच्छा जीवन यही है कि हम पूरी तरह भगवान की इच्छा पर निर्भर होकर जीवन जिए और इस भौतिक संसार की सभी कठिनाई को आई थिंक पार कर जाएंगे और आसानी से निकल जाएंगे। तब वो दैट टाइम लाइक शी सेड ऑल दोस थिंग्स। सो यही मैं मेरा
Yes.
डर प्रभु।
Thank you, sir. No, thank you so much, better. Thank you. Now, can I request the other devotees who are present if they would like to reflect any one or two points from the last four verses, where the devotees they beautifully shared their realizations and takeaways.
Krishna Prabhuji, just the devotees said, we are, trying to reach Swarga, means other planets, instead of if we concentrate, just about Krishna, have full faith and keep chanting, keep listening, maybe we will reach, whatever, wherever we want to reach. So we should really come back to home, that is, come back to Godhead. That's my take.
Yeah.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. So in the text 36, right, it is mentioned 9 devotional aspects, right? For the very important first one and the very important one is hearing. So Prabhupada mentions we have to hear it from right sources. Right sources in the sense the one who has come in the disciplic succession, which starts from we have 4 sampradayas, right? So Lord Krishna and the our like ISKCON is Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So basically you have to hear it from the Acharya, or the Guru who has come in the disciplic succession. And Prabhupada mentioned that if that hearing is if you follow that one, right, the rest of the the devotional aspects, right, they will go easily and perfectly. So because most of the times, right, people hear from unauthorized sources like watching TV serials, or someone might have written the commentary on his own. So that will misguide the real purpose of the Vedic the literature. So that one point I wanted to mention, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, 2 points that I liked in the purport of verse 36. One is one should not consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis.
Yes.
And the last line, Prabhuji, that Krishna, is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. What is interesting is even hearing about his combatants, that is, even hearing about Kamsa or Hiranyakashipu makes us remember Krishna. So that's the
Thank you.
that's quite interesting.
Correct.
That's what I felt about it.
Yeah, thank you. And a couple of points from my side on the same verse and 1:36. So this verse is Shanvanti Gayanti Grananti Abhishnasha, that if we hear, chant, remember Krishna, we can have the darshan of Krishna achirena. Achirena means without any delay. But still, we see there are many people who chant and they are not able to have the darshan of Krishna. So Prabhupada gives the reason. One devotee mentioned that the reason is hearing from unauthorized sources. Unauthorized sources means the people who are academically qualified. They seems to be very learned, but they are not engaged in the devotion service. So they are not the authorized speakers, and we should not hear from them. And in the same verse, the purport, the last sentence, Prabhupada says it is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with Him. And Prabhupada says hearing of all these scriptures is essential. So these scriptures means Prabhupada is saying that hearing of Vedas and Puranas is essential. but we don't have the time to read the Vedas and Puranas. So what we should do? And that's why it is important that we go and take the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is summary of all the Vedas and Puranas. So when Prabhupada says hearing of all these scriptures is essential, so we should remember that if we don't have the time, then best thing, we take the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the sense of everything. Next verse, 1837. Now, Manish, he made the point that who is the most fortunate person? The most fortunate person is the one who is entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. But the one sentence which I like most in this purport, Prabhupada says, undoubtedly, devotees or Pandavas were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. So what Prabhupada wants to say that we have to be dependent on the mercy of Krishna, goodwill of Krishna, but that does not mean we do not do any activity and we become an idle parasite. Parasite is the one who lives at the cost of others' life. You know, there are bacteria who suck the life of other living entities, and that's how they survive. So that's what Prabhupada mentions. And one more thing, Prabhupada says, Prabhupada calls Pandavas as Mahatmas. And why? Because they were not able to bear the separation from Krishna, like fish cannot bear the separation from water. And finally, Prabhupada said the best way of living, that how should we live our life, is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord. And if we do so, thereby overcome all difficulties of material existence. So these are a couple of points I wanted to share with you. So now we can go to the next set of 4 verses.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, another pranam. Verses 1.838. Kevayam namarubhabhyam yadobiha saha pandavaha bhavado darshanam yarhi krisikanam ivesiduha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities along with the Pandavas and Yados will end at once. So these are the points mentioned in the purport. And this is one of the most beautiful prayers put forward by Kunti Devi. As the super soul departs from the body, it is nothing definitely exposed to decay. When the tube light, this is one of the examples, it's from my side, I don't know whether it is correct. When the tube light turns on, we get light. As it turns off, the electricity, which is the reason behind the light, moves away from it. Kunti Devi is well aware of the fact that all the fame and existence of Pandavas purely due to the blessings of Lord Krishna.
Yes.
So no one should be proud of one's prestige, power, and fame, whereas we should possess gratitude and full surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna under any circumstances. Without being guided by the Lord, all inventions end in fiasco, that is disaster. However strong and stout the reactionary elements may be. To conclude this verse, every moment we have to remember Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Minus Krishna, everything is zero. This background consciousness leads to all senses. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes. Next.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Yeah.
Verse number 39. Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathedanim gadadhara tvat padaira ankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitaye. Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Gadadhara, O Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. So my takeaway from these is through the purport. I will read first two lines of the purport and then I will speak something more. There are certain particular marks on the feet of the Lord which distinguish the Lord from others. The marks of a flag, thunderbolt, and instrument to drive an elephant, umbrella, lotus, disc, etc. are all on the bottom of the Lord's feet. So here the point I notice, we are talking about the Lord's feet. And I would like to say, most of the Mayavadis or the yogis, they, concentrate on Brahma-jyot. Brahma-jyot is nothing but the feet of the Lord. And when I was reading this, something automatically started ringing in my ear. That is a one very beautiful bhajan. Adaram Maduram, Vadanam Maduram, Madhuradipate, Akhilam Maduram. And then there is a Renu Maduram, Pada Maduram. So everything is, madhur about the Lord's feet. And here Prabhupada says, he describes the marks and he says, etc. So there are many such marks. So every renu of the Lord's feet, that is the dust particle of the Lord's feet, the impressions which the auspicious marks have created, they can change the life of the people. So we look always for the charan dhuli, either of the Lord or Lord's devotee. And that, takes us out of this disturbing ocean. So here the important words what I have taken is Ankita, which is marked, and Swalakshana, that is God's own mark. So this Charandhuli, that is dust of the lotus feet, that can, liberate us. And earlier I was thinking Madhur in the dictionary means sweet or pleasant. But after, this listening this song, listening this purport, Madhur's other meaning is auspicious. Anything and everything auspicious is Madhur. And that is a Krishna. It is always Madhuram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Next devotee. Prabhu.
इमे जनपदा सुरधा सुपक वसुधि विरुद्धः वनाद्रि नदी उदन्वन्तो हे अध्यन्ते तवा विकसते. So this I will now read the translation. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. So from this shlok, I have understood a few powerful messages. The first is that the real prosperity comes from nature and not the industry growth. So Mata Kunti is reminding us basically that everything we truly need, that is grains, fruits, water, minerals, are already arranged by our Lord Krishna. But in today's time, we are running like behind industrial growth. Like we want more of malls, more development, and we are also thinking that material success will bring happiness to us, but unfortunately this is bringing more stress and imbalance in our life. The second is that we are trying to exploit nature too much. The more we try to control or overuse our natural resources for our own selfish motives, the more we get trapped in our problems. For example, like we have observed last year huge floods in UAE, and we also have seen like we have seen a few cyclones, storms, all of in the world, because we should remember that nature works under God's will, and we should accept it with our gratitude instead of exploiting it. The last point which is mentioned in this and it is particularly very, like I believe this very personally also, that there is no need to harm animals if we already have enough grains, fruits, vegetables. Then why we should kill innocent animals? So in this in the last line also in the translation that this is all due to your glancing over them. So everything will flourish if the divine interaction will come in. If we say Krishna's name in everything, in every task we are doing, it will automatically flourish. And so this shlok basically teaches us to live in harmony with nature, and we should stay connected to Krishna's mercy and focus on devotion instead of material greed. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Atha Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamurte Swakeshu me Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi Dridam Pandu Suvrishnishu. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Hare Krishna. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that here Kunti Maharani is praying to Krishna that help her to cut off the affection ties from her own people so that she can devote her full time in devotion of Krishna. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada has also mentioned this by giving an example of 6 Goswamis who were very rich and from a well known homes. They left their homes and followed the path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here in the purport, it is also explained that how Lord sometimes breaks the family affection by force of circumstance and thus clears the path for returning to Godhead. In this, Kunti Maharani prays to Lord Krishna to help her to cut off the ties of affection. So basically, she is requesting to have a detachment. In this world, it is very difficult to follow this path of detachment. So I was very request that how can this be achieved? I was reading a book called Srimad Bhagavatam in Practice, which is written by devotees of His Holiness Maharaj Mahavishnu Goswami. And that in that book, Sajjana Priyadas Prabhuji has written very nicely that detachment should be our nature, because detachment will lead to a pleasing attitude, and pleasing attitude will lead us to understanding of our principles of devotion. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी तवै मे अनन्या विश्य मति मधुपतया सकृत रतिम उद्वाह तद अधा गंगे इव उगम उदन्वती. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So my realization, Prabhuji, from this one is that in devotional service, we shall serve the Lord only. So, but it does not mean that we will not have attention or affection for others. That is not possible. But our objective shall be changed. Then we will attain the form of the pure devotional service. And another thing I liked it is that the serving the Lord and serving the devotees is identical. And sometimes serving the devotees is even better than serving the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. Short and sweet.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.43. Shri Krishna Krishna Shakha Vrishna Yusabhava Nidru Rajanya Vansha Dahanana Pavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surati Haravatara Yogeshwara Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, You are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your pravesh never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distress of the cows, the Brahmins, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna. Actually, I don't have any capacity to justify what Prabhupada ji has written in the purport, all the beautiful purports written by Prabhupada ji. And this is the last verse spoken by Kunti Maharani in glorification of Supreme Lord. Actually, I just want to specify just one point which we heard in classes by our acharyas and gurus, like, that Kunti Maharani prayers is so close to Prabhupada ji that when he was there in United States in difficult times, he used to recite this prayer because in glorification of the Lord. And there is a life-threatening situation, because in one of the pages of Back to Godhead magazine, Brahmananda Swami has mentioned that he was instructing that when there is life-threatening situations in our life, we always need, going back to Bhagavatam and reciting this beautiful Maharani prayers. So in this last verse, actually what Prabhupada ji has written is that regarding, one cannot describe the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead in words, but in this verse, the Almighty Lord has his eternal transcendental abode, where he is engaged in keeping and serving the Surbi cows. And it is heard, and we have heard in many classes and say that whatever pastimes Krishna has performed in Vrindavan is exact replica of his transcendental abode, which is Golok Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan also, he engaged himself in keeping and serving cows. And he is served by thousands of goddess of fortune in Golok Vrindavan. He creates, maintains, and annihilates by his unlimited energies. So, and at last, Prabhupada ji has mentioned very nicely that the cows, the Brahmins, and the devotees of the Lord are objects of his special attention, because he always gives special mercy and special attention to these three categories, and they are very dear to Lord Krishna, and he descends himself. So specifically this particular, he descends himself in this material world to relieve the distress of this living entity. So to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should always develop the desire to serve the cows and his devotees more and more. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Many thanks to all the devotees who shared the wonderful points and realizations from Srila Prabhupada translating purports. Now, I request the devotees who were present in the discussion, if any one of them would like to reflect on any one or two points from these last 6 verses.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in verse 43, if I just go and see how many times Krishna has been called out in different ways by Kunti Maharani, Shri Krishna, Krishna Sakha, Vrishni, Rishabha, the Annihilator, Dahana, and Govinda, Avtara, Artihara, the reliever, the one who relieves the distress, then Yoga Ishvara, Akhila Guru, and Bhagwan. So there are around 10 or 11 ways in which Kunti Maharani has addressed him. That means if I read this verse 10 times or 11 times, I would be reciting Krishna's names 110 times. And
Yeah, very good. Yes, thank you, Mataji. You're bringing the wonderful point.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah,
I'd like to add one point. So it is mentioned that
which verse, Prabhu?
Last verse, Prabhu, the
Yeah,
40, yeah. So the prowess of Lord, right, never deteriorates. Like here in material world, right, when we are in anger, we will have like full of energy, and when we become old, right, we don't have that energy or enthusiasm. But Lord has performed so many like wonderful leelas, right, lifting a Govardhan hill or killing of Kali, anything. But his energies, right, never diminish. So
yes,
that
your prowess never deteriorates.
yes.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Prabhu. So the couple of points from my side on verse number 1.839. Prabhupada says that or Prabhupada says that since the kingdom was marked by the impression of Krishna's lotus feet, it appears beautiful. So this implies that if Krishna's presence is there in our lives, our life will also become beautiful. Or in a simple words, if we have any marks of Krishna on our body, then also we become beautiful. And putting a tilak on our forehead, which is a representation of Krishna, is as good as carrying the impression of Krishna's on our body, and which makes us beautiful. And the second point Kunti Maharani mentioned in the next verse is that all these cities and villages, rivers, mountains, etc., they are flourishing because of your glance. You glanced over them and they are flourishing. So that means it's very important that we should try to get the glance of Krishna as much as possible. And how can we get the glance of Krishna? If we have to simply go and stand in front of Krishna as many times as possible during the day. When we go and stand in front of Krishna, we say that we are going to take the darshan of Krishna. So we say we are going to take the darshan of Krishna, but our mind is not there when we are taking the darshan of Krishna. But still we get the benefit, we get the pleasure, happiness when we are in front of Krishna. So I believe we get the pleasure, happiness, peace of mind, not because of we look at the Krishna, rather Krishna looks at it. Krishna throws his glance upon us, and that makes us happy, blissful, and by Krishna's glance we flourish also. And we can take the example of sun. Like we don't have the potency to look at the sun. We have the limited potency, but we simply stand in front of the sun just for 5 minutes. Our body is injected with the vitamin D, which no other person can do in this material world. So these are a couple of points I wanted to share from these couple of verses. And one more point, Kunti Devi is praying that you please sever my affection for Pandavas and Vrishneshu. So why she's praying for, why she's praying to Krishna to sever the affection to Pandavas means the own children, and Vrishni from her parent side, because she was in trouble, she was in a dilemma where Krishna should stay. So Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, if Krishna chooses to stay with Pandavas, then her Kunti's parental side won't get the Krishna, or Krishna goes to Kunti's parental side, then Pandavas will be bereft of Krishna. So Kunti realizes that Kunti, this miserable situation is just because of her affection to the family members, because she is seeing just their body and not the soul. Prabhupada explains in the purport. And that's why she prays to Krishna that Krishna, please sever my ties of affection for my family members. And the verse number 1.8.42, Prabhupada mentions one thing in the purport very beautifully. Prabhupada says, sometimes service to devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. That means it's very important to have the devotees in our life, and we should have the opportunity to serve them. As Prabhupada mentioned, that service to the devotees is more important than serving the Lord. Yeah, Prabhupada. So these are the few points from my side, and I would like to thank all the devotees for attending this session. So now we give viram to this session. Any devotee has got any comments or question? Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pancham Pranam. No, I
Hare
just want to, this verse 1.8.41, in which we have, like Kunti Maharani is praying to cut off their family ties. Actually, we all should actually try to perform our duties, not too much attached. Instead, we must think whatever a family and all we should do like a duty. They are the amsha of Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. That should be our mood, actually.
Yeah, without being attached to the results, right? Okay, thank you. And one more devotee we have, Tushti Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I have
Yeah.
only one small doubt always in my mind, since we are materially engrossed. And Shravanam, since it is mentioned in our discussion. So Shravanam, instead of Shravanam, Smaranam, is it okay? Because in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, Mama Anusmaran Yuddhascha. So Lord Krishna says, always remember me and fight. So our life is also, we are fighting. So for Shravanam, we have to sit and we have to hear. But Smaranam, anywhere, anytime, and while doing our material duties, we can do. So which one means, I have a doubt in this.
Yeah,
So
Prabhu,
can
so
you please highlight on this?
Prabhupada explained that the Smaranam, the constant Smaranam,
Yeah.
is not an easy thing, and there is a process which needs to be followed. And the process is Shravanam. First, we hear from the bona fide source, and then we chant. Chanting is in a different ways. Chanting, we can chant the mantra, we can chant the glories of Krishna, we can chant Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we do these two things more and more, Kunti Maharani said, Abhishnasha. Abhishnasha means without any interruption, constantly. Then it will lead to the Smaranam, right? So constant remembrance of Krishna is not an easy thing. It's an activity of the liberated soul. So we can aspire and but we must do more and more Shravanam and Kirtanam. The thing is that in our day-to-day life, our goal is to chant 16 rounds, 20 rounds, 32 rounds. So, but our goal should not be to chant 16 rounds, 20 rounds, 32 rounds. Rather, our goal should be to chant constantly, right? Satatam kirtinto mam. Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita is to chant constantly, not to chant 16 rounds, 20 rounds, 32 rounds. So, all these minimum committed number of rounds aim to take us to a point where we have the constant, where we are constantly chanting Krishna's name, constantly chanting Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, etc. Right, Prabhu?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu, so much.
Hare Krishna.